Okay, so we were gonna do just one episode, but Levi dropped some bombs for us, and so some goodies, some golden nuggets, all before we even got into the snowmobiling stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we may lump this into one, or maybe you're listening to part 2 right now with Levi Green. But we're gonna kind of transition more into the snowmobiling side of things. One thing that and I mentioned this kind of in the intro, is just watching your progression.
Yeah.
So physical progression. Talk to me about that.
Okay.
So you hit the gym. You hit the gym hard.
Yes.
You've cut a lot of weight, but got big.
Yes.
So what have been some of the levers there that you've or the mindset shift? Are you just doing overall over body, or are you like, no, I'm doing these things specifically for the time spent on a snowmobile?
Well, I'll start off with kind of the beginning of that is, a lot of years I only rode with a set group of people.
Yeah.
And when you're hungry,
like most people, right?
Yeah, most people have their group and they stick to that group and they ride with them, and there's nothing wrong with that. For myself, that's what I was doing, and I was starting to get, pretty hungry. I was wanting to push myself, and it was pretty easy to assume that I was a good rider because I was starting to become maybe the better rider out of my group. And then I got humbled pretty quickly when I went out and rode. I started expanding my riding with people that are elsewhere. I started networking. And once I started networking and riding with other riders, I quickly learned that I was not the rider that I thought I was.
You were once the big fish.
Yes, I was
in a small pond.
Yes,
and that thing just flipped on you just like that.
I was humbled very quickly, and in that same year, I actually Caleb Kesterke, he started up Proven Progression clinics, and I've been watching his stuff, and on 509 and his videos that he'd been putting out, and I was like, man, that dude's getting it. So I was pretty enticed to put together some funding and go out and see what the Proven Progression, see if my riding could even stack up.
So you went out as like a customer.
Yeah, I went out as a client. I got a couple friends together and we made a trip of it and went out there, and I tell you what, I was blown away. I was, the environment, everyone was fired up because everyone wanted to learn. Like when you go to a clinic like that and you're looking at, learning some advanced skills or, pushing yourself, generally the mindset of the group is very similar, where everyone's wanting to learn those things. And so the Stoke environment was incredible. And then also had Caleb and Kyle Saxton was actually helping out at the time. And to watch those two ride, some professional level riders, it absolutely blew our mind. Because, videos, you see it and stuff, but seeing that stuff in person and seeing what's possible on a snowmobile, it's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it opens up your eyes. And for me, I was hungry already. And then I was like, wow.
Yeah, you were at the dinner table.
Yeah, I did not.
Hungry.
I did not
ready for
realize.
a feast.
Yeah. Dude, that lit a fire under my butt.
Yeah, but you also get to see, because a lot of times we just see the highlights.
Yeah.
You don't really get to see the attempts that got you to the highlight.
Right.
And you're probably learning. I mean, you learn the most through being able to see those attempts.
Yes.
That got the highlight.
Yes.
Right.
Well, and a lot of it is when those guys ride. There's some mistakes here and there that you don't really see on camera, but you're only seeing maybe 3% of the riding going on. Right? And so when you watch and you see the fluidity, the capability, there's only maybe a handful of mistakes throughout the day that, where a person leaves the sled and the sled goes rolling, but you also can't be afraid of that. You can't be afraid of the sled rolling or making a mistake, because And that's one of the levers, was opening up my mind to, it's okay to make a mistake.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get frustrated every single time. Otherwise, you're going to, like, for example, like one of the things that's always preached is, if you look at the tree, your focus is going to take you to that tree, and you're going to hit it.
Yep.
So if you're always focused on what could break, what I could hit, what could go wrong, you're going to be too focused on the wrong things to actually push yourself and progress and learn.
Yeah.
So shifting that focus to, like, okay, if something breaks, well, I'll replace it or I'll fix it and, you know, perform my maintenance that I should be doing so that I can keep riding.
Yeah. And Levi's talking about levers, because I hit him up. I'm like, dude, I want like give me like the 2, 3, 4 levers that took you from, whether we want to call it intermediate to advanced, that ladder, that step up. Yeah. And so he's dropping some of those levers for us. Love the—what you focus on is where you're going to go. Yeah. And so
that's true with anything in life. Yeah. But kind of back to the fitness aspect, after doing that clinic, I realized that in my career path that I was on, I had a very limited time to take advantage of the snow season. You know, these guys, most professional athletes out there that are very, very talented, they earned that talent. It wasn't just given to them. It wasn't like they woke up one day and they were Caleb Kesterke, Brett Turcotte, Kyle Saxton, you know, Chris Brandt. It wasn't like they just woke up that way. Yeah. They earned it. Yeah. And they put in the time, they put in, you know, the money, the hard work, the blood, sweat, tears. And so I was trying to figure out how I could balance my career with pushing myself in the sport. And one of those things was maximizing each day on the snow. So through that, I was like, okay, well, I'm getting burned out after one hop over attempt or one bow tie attempt, and then I got to, you know, sit for 5 minutes, catch a breather, and then go do another attempt, you know. So that ain't gonna work. Yeah. Because I can only get, you know, a handful of reps in. So I started pushing my fitness, and I started really focusing on my body and being intuitive there, so that when I go out and ride, I can maximize each day. Yeah. I can put in more reps, which more reps equals more learning, more experience, and that'll help you dial in your craft. Yeah. So that's how fitness ties into me.
And you see a lot of these guys who are really pushing it.
Yeah.
They've got there's a physical side of it.
There is.
There's a transformation. I mean, I remember watching, I don't know if it was posts or videos of transformation of Caleb. And, you know, he didn't always look like the way he looked. Dude's jacked now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You look at Kyle Saxton, too. You know, Kyle went through a big transformation as well. I think you just get to that point where it's like, I can only do so much with the body that I'm in right now. Yes. And if I want to take that next step, I've got to make some changes. Here.
Well, you know, and I've been a big advocate for it, because you know, if you take care of your body and you prepare it for what you're about to put it through, you're going to recover better. You're going to have a better time on the snow. You're going to enjoy the sport more. And if you work on flexibility and mobility, you're going to have less injuries.
Yeah, which is one of the biggest injury, and you're down, huge. Dude.
Yeah, because so many people, you know, and flexibility and mobility is one of the biggest that gets thrown out the window. But Kyle Saxton actually told me one day when we were working out in the gym, and he was explaining, you know, what he does for his stretching and stuff. He's like, you know, it's how far your head can go behind your back before you break.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've seen some of his impacts and some of his, it's like, how are you okay after that? But
some of that stuff where he's just coming around the corner in the air, and it's just like, near, boom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. So.
Okay, so the physicality side of it, on point, but you started spending some more time up with proven progression. Yes. And this last season, you got some paces up there with those guys. Yes. With Caleb.
Yeah.
maybe walk us through what, from your experience thus far, what a day looks like with
Yeah.
proven progression in
Yeah.
a clinic up there. If
Yeah.
someone's interested, what can they expect?
Absolutely. My start with proven progression, obviously I was a client. And then kind of late spring of 2021, I believe it was, all my friends had hung up their sleds for the season and called it quits, and I couldn't find anybody to ride. And so I reached out to Caleb, and I'm like, look, I'm not the best rider, but if you're still riding, like, do you mind if I tag along, or do you want to go ride? I was trying to invite him out because I just wanted to get on the snow, really.
Yeah.
And just so happened that they were headed out to Cook City, had a group headed out to Cook City, and we're going out to build jumps. And I'm like, sweet, never done it before. I've hit natural jumps, and I think I shoveled a cornice out one time to jump. Other than that, I didn't have any experience. And so went out there, and, that was my first experience with jumping, and it was a lot of fun. And just kind of after that, I networked and talked a little bit more with Caleb, and the opportunity came 2 seasons ago to come out to his jump clinic and help build jumps, and as like a tail guide. He wasn't getting paid or nothing. I just wanted to come out and help and experience and maybe see what I had to offer people. And through that, I found that I loved teaching snowmobiles because one, like, they're so much fun as it is, and they're awesome machines. They're very capable. And if I can help one person, enjoy the sport that much more, that's incredible. Seeing someone's face light up when they've done something for the first time, or they hold an edge longer than before my interaction with them, or they do their first bow tie or hop over or whatever it may be, and just seeing their face light up and they're just so excited, that's worth everything.
Yeah.
Like, that's so fulfilling. You can't beat that with a stick. So
yeah, and to be in that space, in that industry, and do what you guys do, you have to have that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna be you'll be more focused on yourself rather than someone else, which not everyone has to go that direction.
Yeah. No.
But the good ones have that sort of compassion and that desire to see the progression, not just in themselves, but in others.
Yes, and that's what's really cool about working with Caleb is last year I jumped in on 2 other clinics, an intermediate and a beginner clinic, and helped out. He was short, and so I jumped in, helped out, and really enjoyed that. And what's cool is he is just as driven about helping people because he loves the sport so much, and he's doing it because he wants to help people enjoy the sport. That's why he does what he does. He's that passionate about it, and it's to see that, and to see that side of someone that is doing what he's doing in the industry is really cool. And there's not many people that are willing to do that. And
you mentioned some things that guys like Caleb do differently that when you've been with them. What are some, and we talked about the physical side of things, but what are some of the things that you've just kind of, as you've sat back and kind of analyzed the process with Caleb, what are some things that you've noticed? Man, he just does this. He does things differently. And that's made all the difference. Like, what are some of those things?
He's not really willing to call it quits. And a lot of people, when something gets difficult or hard or they're frustrated, they call it quits. And when he gets frustrated, he's like, for example, let's say a jump didn't turn out quite the way he wanted to. Maybe he didn't land in the exact spot that he wanted to. He will probably hit that thing another 20 times and blow the landing out, whatever, reshape the jump to hit that spot.
Wow.
You know, the level of it, you know, of drive that he has to perfect what it is he's trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And, you know, he focuses on it. If there's
Yeah.
something he wants to perfect or to nail, I mean, he almost can't sleep at night if he doesn't get it exactly how he wanted to.
Yeah, as you were saying that, you know, I was like, why is that unique? Because if you were to tell me that's how LeBron James or some professional athlete handles their business, I would say, well, duh, like that's why they're a professional athlete. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just a different sport. Like,
Yeah.
you know, of course, you know, the guys are doing those types of things because they are a professional in their sport.
Yeah. It's because they want it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to want it.
Yep.
You know, and that's kind of where I'm at is, you know, I've always been passionate about snowmobiling, and I've always looked up to the professionals in the movies and stuff as a kid. And I grew up, you know, I burned out a 509 Volume 7 DVD because I watched it so many times. I fell asleep, you know, going to bed at night so many times to it that I had to go buy another disc. You know, so I could keep watching it.
That's funny.
And, you know, so now that I see that, you know, there's an opportunity out there to achieve this childhood dream, like, you know, you go all in for it.
Yeah.
When you see that it's an option and you can attain it, then why not?
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people that are where they are have a plan A, and they don't even have a plan B. Like plan B, you throw that out the window, because if you have plan B, then you're not going to be focused on plan A.
Yeah.
You're going to be willing to hold back a little bit. You're going to be willing to not put all, you know, everything into plan A.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people are afraid to take this step because they're like, oh, what if? Or, you know, whatever. And it's important to make educated decisions and to look at what could go wrong. But you have to look at is, you know,
what could go right if I actually go through with these things?
Yeah, yeah. And if you're always, and it kind of comes back to the focus thing, like if you're always focused on what could go wrong and you're focused on your plan B, you'll never achieve plan A because you weren't focused on it.
Yeah.
You were too worried about what could go wrong.
Yeah.
And that holds, I'd say, as one of the levers for pushing and progressing in the sport. That is one of the biggest levers, is people are too worried about what's going to go wrong. And if you start focus on what could go right and what you want to achieve, and I mean, you'll achieve things you never thought you could.
Yeah. Yeah, the mind's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And an organized mind that has some fire in there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, a couple of things before we wrap up. You've seen.
I see what you did there, DVD.
Hey, I use that line every time. I'm just kidding. I don't know. It just flowed.
Oh, my dad jokes are coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. I'm gonna have to watch myself around you now. So, what are some of the common? We talked about a lot of good things that you know, pros are doing that sets them apart. But what are some of the things that you notice? Some of the mistakes that we make, sledders make in the backcountry that are pretty easy, like are fixable.
Yeah.
What are some of, like, just a few of those common things that you know, a little tweak here or a little tweak there?
I would say the biggest that I have seen is people thinking they need more power.
More power.
Yeah, people thinking that they need more power to achieve what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
If you're trying to use power to compensate for your physical ability, then I would say you're holding yourself back a lot.
Yeah.
Because if you can learn the basics and learn these maneuvers that you're trying to achieve, and learn how to ride with a sled that maybe doesn't have a turbo, or whatever it may be. I would say if you set up your suspension in your sled to achieve what the style of riding you're looking to achieve, then I mean you'll do so much better. And I see a lot of people that are wanting to learn bow ties and hop overs and stuff like that, or even just basic edge control, but they love the wheelie factor when they squeeze the throttle and that turbo comes on, and on an open hillside they want both, and that's kind of tough because a turbo brings a lot more power in the equation and a lot more throttle control when you're trying to learn that tight technical tree riding, the hop overs and bow ties, because it's a lot more to handle. And you're gonna that sled's gonna ride you. But now if your goal is to you just want to play out in the open, have a good time, and climb some steep hills fast and whatnot, then it's a great option. But I do see a lot of people that want to get into that tight technical riding starting off with a boosted sled, and it holds them back a lot. And I had to learn that. When I jumped on my first turboed sled, I was like, no, this is too much. I need to go back and learn how to ride a naturally aspirated 850. And I tell you what, that was a great decision because I learned the basics, the basics of hop overs and bow ties, and I learned how to do it on those sleds, which now on a boosted sled I can do it in different locations. Like I can do it in locations that I couldn't get to with that naturally aspirated sled. So for learning, it's better to go with suspension and sled setup versus power.
And so many people make such a fuss, man. The 600 Catalyst. Dude, we have a few 650, just the Polaris 650s.
They ripped.
And when we would have 650 days. And those were some of the greatest days last year on those 650s. Different riding, but still fun as heck.
Absolutely.
It's not a boring day.
Right.
And you can, for the most part, you can go and do almost everything. You just don't go up to the top. Right.
Absolutely.
Or maybe it takes you a handful of extra attempts to get up there.
Another thing I do is last year I had some issues with my boost 155, so I rode my 146 a majority of the season, and I tell you what, that is a capable setup. You do and I had a 22 Matrix Chaos, and I threw some, an Ice Age skid under there, did a 146 setup on it, and I loved it. I mean, even in the deep POW, it was a challenge. You had to ride it fast, and you had to always be on it in the deep stuff. But it was 2 feet of fresh up in Sealy one time, and it was she was chugging along with the turbos a little bit.
Just giving that 146 all she had.
But that is a very capable setup, and it's a lot easier to learn these things on versus someone trying to learn hop overs and bow ties and all these technical riding on a 165. It's just not really the ideal setup. So a lot of people get caught up in the big track and the turbo for mountains, but want to learn the technical stuff. Keep that in mind.
Okay. So don't focus so much on the power. Don't be so fixated on it. Is there anything else? Is there another kind of common mistake you see out there on the mountain or mindset?
I would say one of the biggest mistakes I see is and it kind of hits home because my area over in Twin Falls is really bad for it, but a lot of people get this idea that because they showed up to a dealership avalanche awareness class that they know what they're talking about now, and they've been through a class. And it's whoa, it's a little different than if you're talking in an area or another AAA level 1 and level 2 and pro classes. There's not. They dabble into information and give you just enough to be dangerous, but they don't actually go through everything in detail and prepare you for, what is going on out there. And so a lot of people also rely on I've never seen it slide there, so it's going to be okay. Well, I can tell you that if you have the right slope angle, the right snowpack, and a trigger, that could be a different story.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you've never seen it slid.
Yep.
So,
okay. Love it.
That one just kind of, and it's okay to
that's so common.
Yeah.
Oh, well, for sure, right?
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of people, they want to go push and do pretty wicked stuff on sleds, but they're not willing to sacrifice a little bit of time or a weekend to get some avalanche training. And it is a sacrifice. You might have to take a little bit of time off work. You're going to be out a little bit of pocket change. Maybe that's a sled can for you or whatever it may be. But, man, that avalanche training and knowing what you're dealing with out in the backcountry really helps you make better decisions.
Yeah.
Now we all make mistakes. No one's immune.
Yeah,
so,
and the mountain doesn't give a crap how much training you've had.
It doesn't.
Right?
It doesn't. Even an expert makes mistakes out in avalanche terrain. So, but understanding those helps you mitigate your risk, and it helps mitigate your exposure and make better decisions to better your group.
Yeah.
So
cool. So we're gonna go to the lightning round. There's a couple questions here.
Oh boy.
Okay, you get ready for this.
All right.
Okay, we'll make them easy for you.
I'll try to make them shorter.
Okay, no, we're good. We're good. So you got a fresh sled. She's naked, ready to do whatever you want. Okay, as far as mods go, but you only get 3.
Oh,
wrap doesn't count. Okay. What are the 3? And let's go in sequential order here.
Okay.
So number 1, number 2, number 3.
Okay. Which sled?
Which sled?
Which sled?
What type of riding?
Because I would pick different things for different makes.
Okay, so let's go. Let's see. You're going to be on a 9. Let's go your 9R.
Okay, 9R. First thing I would do is, by the way, I've got a 9R 146 coming.
Okay, so we're talking 9R 146 right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. First thing I would do is change the track. They're pretty soft, which is better for deeper powder and stuff like that. But for like doing any sort of technical riding and maybe like bow ties, hopovers, and jumps and spring riding and stuff, that it's just too flimsy of a track. Second would be bars. I think it's important to set your cockpit up to your riding and get you in the correct stance and the correct position to attack the trail. And I guess with the bars set up, I'm going to tie that into one.
Okay. We'll allow it.
I've become really, really fond of the finger throttle. Being able to add pressure with your right hand to the bars and control the throttle more has relieved pressure off of my left shoulder, which if you're doing a lot of side hilling, if you're doing a lot of side hilling on your right side, then your left shoulder is doing a lot of work. And I've noticed that like it would just start getting tired, so I was always stretching it out. It kind of became my problem shoulder, and I was like, didn't understand why. The moment I moved to that, it was no longer a problem shoulder.
Wow.
And it was like, you can attack
selling
the
point right there.
Oh man,
finger throttle.
I'm not sponsored by Monster or anything, but I've just fallen in love with that thing.
Yeah.
It's sick. And then
So that was 2.
it was 2.
It was like 2A and 2B.
All right.
Now we're on 3, the third one.
Suspension.
Okay.
I can't stress enough how important it is. If you're not really looking to push yourself and whatnot and learn new things, then the average stock suspension is going to work great for you.
Yeah.
And a lot of stock suspension out there does work pretty great. The only thing I recommend is maybe right away or after the first season, sending them off to get refreshed, because 9 times out of 10, the oil in stock suspension is gone.
Yeah.
It's just deteriorated. But if you are getting more into the sport and want to push yourself and stuff, pushing into aftermarket suspension, there's a lot of great companies out there.
For sure.
And setting up your sled to where it's more intuitive to your riding. Like, for example, if you're wanting to climb steep mountains, you're going to want a softer front shock setup and a stiffer rear shock. If you're wanting to do bow ties, hopovers, and wheelie everywhere and show everyone your belly pan, then you're going to want to stiffen up your front shock and loosen up your rear shock. And having that adjustability and that quick adjustability and understanding your sled setup is really going to make it a much better and quicker experience for you in the backcountry.
Great. Yeah.
So.
Okay, so that was the first question. We're going to go to the second question.
All right.
But the camera's just died right here.
Oh.
So I'm hoping this one didn't. Oh, she's still purring, dude.
Nice.
Camera
nice.
A. Camera A. Always got to have a good camera A,
good.
right?
Yes.
We'll just roll with camera A. We won't worry about these two because camera A is getting.
All good.
Okay. Lesson learned right there. Have a good camera A.
Yeah.
Oh boy, there she goes.
Oh.
Heads up.
The set's
nice
getting
catch,
wild.
Colby. Nice catch.
Set's getting wild.
We've got a cameo in the background right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so question number 2.
Mm-hmm.
What is one thing that most of your followers, anyone online, social media, does not know about you? What is your secret, big fella?
Oh, shoot, I'm gonna have to think about that one.
We'll wait. We got time.
Okay. Shoot, that's a hard one. I'm kind of open on social media sometimes.
Well,
I don't hide a lot, I don't think.
Muskoka Matt.
Oh.
His secret was no broken bones.
No broken bones.
So there you go.
Oh, well.
Are you part of that club too?
I can't say that.
Okay.
It's not a secret.
For a snowmobiler doing stuff, it's pretty normal to get some dings.
Yeah.
But,
not really a secret per se, but maybe not well known is I actually broke 2 vertebrae about 3 years ago riding a dirt bike out in Caneville, Utah. I got a little bit excited and eager to hit a jump I wasn't ready for and come up short and tagged the rear tire on the knuckle, rode the front tire for a ways, and it tossed me around once that front tire washed. Tossed me around backwards, and I landed on my lower back, which kind of whiplashed my head into the ground, broke my helmet, gave me a concussion, and I just thought I bruised my lower back, and so I laid on the ground making my noises.
What those noises sound like?
I really can't repeat those. They
were more like words.
It was It might have sounded like an animal dying. We'll just put it that way.
I'd really like to hear that.
Yeah.
So you got some broken vertebrae. Lesson learned there. If you want to snowmobile, don't do something on a dirt bike that's going to make it so you can't snowmobile.
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes we just can't help ourselves, right?
Yeah. And one thing that's really helped me with that in that recovery is fitness. Like I focus a lot on core and kind of stabilize those broken bones. So if you do have an injury, you're going to live with it and you're going to feel it and it's going to be there.
Yeah.
But it's important to take care of that injury and focus on making it better and hold up to your situation if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great. Did we miss anything?
Shoot.
Where can we find you online?
You can find me at
208?
208 Adrenaline. That's my Instagram handle. I'm 208 Adrenaline _ LG on TikTok. I've got a YouTube as well. If you type in 208 Adrenaline on YouTube, no spaces, it'll pull up a couple edits that I put together in the past. I'll be putting a couple here.
You're dropping more YouTube content recently as well. So
yep.
Bringing the camera out with you
sir.
and capturing some of that stuff.
Yeah. I've got some fun stuff from last season. You guys can jump on, watch, and ride along for. So if you got any questions, whether it be fitness, whether it be sled setup, whether you name it, whether you want to know how to work with companies and find value in partnerships, reach out. I'm an open book.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I would attest to that. I would full confidence would know that you would make yourself extremely available to people who are showing interest and progression. So.
Yep.
Okay, Levi Green. There we go.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.